Good evening. You are listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Pine Hills Palace, just west of Orlando, Florida. I am in the Extreme Studios talking with RDV, who's backstage with me. And of course, he's from the Great Midwest. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're covering a never before seen film, the first and one and only of its kind, a very early blonde martial arts film that I have something to say about blondes. And RDV, I'm going to give it out tonight about blondes and how awesome we are as a collective group. Of course, this one movie is called Firecracker from 1981, which has nobody you would recognize in it unless you extremists out there listen to our Malibu whatever review last week, because it's got the same dude in it, right?
Yeah, it's this Darby Hinton.
That Darby Hinton, yeah. This is a movie that's got a what would you say, RDV? A high volume of martial arts, adequately filmed, even if the quality is not necessarily high.
It's kind of like Lady of Blood fight in the fact that she went looking for somebody, and this chick basically got played by Jillian Kesner, ends up going to find her sister, who basically was a news reporter, was basically watching this illegal kumite, almost in a sense,
True.
Fight.
The Philippines just goes slimier than other areas.
Yeah, and so basically, because she's taking legal photos, journalist, this guy is a rich American white guy who doesn't like the fact this girl was taking photos, wants to keep it secret. They have her murdered, and you have this cool opening fight scene with Darby Hinton versus other guy, and it's pretty cool, I want to mention
he didn't look bad. He's not the biggest guy, but he's got that 80s look where he's not afraid to be. He's not smooth and bare chested.
He's Hangman
like Page, he's got his hair thing. Yeah, kind of, right? Yeah,
that's what he looks like every time I see him. Yeah, quite a difference from Malibu Express, which is about 4 years later. Yeah, because 3 years. No, 85. So this is 81. Yeah, so 4 years later. Honestly, this was turned out to be better than I thought it was going to be. The fact that it's basically a remake of TNT Jackson, which was a black exploitation film, starring Jean Bell as Diana, which is basically the same thing. She learns her brother missing and suspects a gangster and his friends are behind his disappearance. So she goes to Hong Kong with a friend named Joe and wages a warrant on a criminal gang. She's out the nail. So this is literally almost the same thing. A Los Angeles martial arts inspector goes to the Philippines to find her sister, discovers she's dead. Also being wooed by the guy, by Darby Hinton, who works for the bad guy. The bad guy.
Aha, plot twist. Or is it?
Yeah. I think I'm trying to remember what the guy's name is. Actually, it's the bad guy's name in here. Do you remember what his name?
Typical middle-aged, no-name white guy.
Yeah, I was trying to see, and apparently, and this is also from the same film producer and director, Cirio Santiago, who became a good friend of Roger Corman.
Yeah, Corman, I think in the late 70s, early 80s, did a lot of stuff down, I think it was in Argentina or something. So this is some people from there on that.
Yeah, this guy joined Roger Corman's. They did 50-50, and they did New World Pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and because this movie was super well received in big grindhouse film in the Philippines, it's still popular today, and especially it was Jillian Kesner, the late Jillian Kesner. She passed away in 2007. She had leukemia, and then she died of a staph infection.
Yeah.
But I was reading up about her, dude. Apparently, she was Fonzie's girlfriend in Happy Days.
Yep.
Yeah. And then she was a historian. She worked with her husband, Gary Graver, to preserve and work the legacy of director Orson Welles stuff. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, Orson Welles' unfinished film. They were looking at trying to go ahead and restore it and do it, complete it.
Yeah, other movies she was in: Raw Force, Star Hops, Beverly Hills Vamp, and then did a lot of B level action films. And I gotta say though, I was kind of surprised about this because this movie has some gruesome deaths in here, as she's being chased by these two guys in the warehouse. Yeah. One dude gets kicked into a table saw. And then another guy, she ends up basically beating the crap out of him in the stomach. But later on, when she's finally revealed that who was involved with her sister's death. She's fighting against Darby Hinton.
The guy she just made sweet love
sweet
to,
love
and
to.
we'll talk about it here.
Oh my gosh, she ends up basically like after he spares her because he doesn't want to hurt her, doesn't want to kill her. He's done. She turns around, kicks his ass, and takes the two sticks and then jumps it into his eyes. And you see his eyes. Poof. You see the blood, everything.
It's almost Flash Gordon-esque, just not cool.
No, but overall, like I said, you get this 1970s feel almost, even though it's 81. It's still kind of like Hong Kong and other parts of Asia are still in 70s mode, and that's still true today. I mean, not in the 70s, but I mean, they're always a decade as far as fashion behind us. Like right now in the Philippines and everything, they still love the 1980s films. Where we moved on to this crappy 2000 stuff, they're still in like the cool stuff that we used to like.
Yeah. Look, I got to be honest with you. I agree with you in that this film, if you watch it, it is what it is. It's low budget. It's done professionally. I don't think they're being goofy or stupid. Look, Malibu Express has a certain kind of cheese factor this film does not have. But I really actually appreciated a couple things about it. I wanted to kind of share with you a little bit what immediately came to mind, and that's this. I liked seeing it in the Philippines. It looked very authentic. We got a lot of outside shots. We've got some of the hotel stuff. We got a lot of locals. We've got a market or two. That's always interesting to me. Not that it was a character of the movie, but you believed it was there. Not just, we shot this one scene here. We shot this one scene on the backstage. Look.
Do you know what she reminds me of? This actress? Elizabeth Shue.
I can see that in the face a little bit, but this lady's very attractive. She's got a really nice body.
Not afraid to show it too in this movie because
that's the whole. Let's get that out of the way. The first time we see her to establish her credibility in fighting wise is these two goons who kind of kept eyes on her in the hotel, and they follow her up to her room, and she's in the shower, and they're going through her stuff, and she comes out, and she's just in bra and panties, and not the sexy kind, and she just has a fight with all of them, and you could argue about how staged it looks or how phony, whatever. Here's the thing I will say about the action scenes, and there's a ton of them. And they're playing it safe, and we get the stuff breaking and all that stuff. We know there's just nuts, right? At least you can watch it with your eyes and follow it. A lot of actions they do that quit cutting and stuff, or they speed it up, and it looks like shit. This was not shot bad, in my opinion. She doesn't look like she doesn't know what she's doing. She is a black belt. She is a karate person. I don't know if she was in like what we used to call point karate, where you get a point right when you get somebody reset, do all that. I'm not sure. So that was definitely a thing in the 80s. And of course, Chuck Norris is the master of that, as well as some others, Benny the Jet, whatnot. But for her, I really like this because here's the thing. Yes, there's a fight scene in here where as the fight goes on, her dress gets ripped and her clothes come off, and she's literally fighting braless just with panties on and in high heels. But it's not that yuck kind of thing to it. She's fighting and she's concentrating on beating these guys up. I really respected that. I'm being serious.
Yeah, and how her clothes get ripped off. She's in a dress. She climbs up the ladder, and then she goes through. These guys are just hiding by this door. Guy tries to grab her, and she runs away, and he pulls her dress off, and that leads to the chase, in the hallway, and then it's into the warehouse. She took her heels off, and like I said, she's very believable as a karate expert.
Now her acting career was what it was. It's not a name you would ever really know, and all that unless something like this came up. But I looked at someone like her in Australia going, there was definitely a place for it. We know Cynthia Rothrock to me is the gold standard. Some people might argue, it's Michelle Yeoh. In terms of quality martial arts, I'm going Cynthia. You can argue whatever you want. I mean, that's not what this is about. But it's just she wasn't horrible, and I felt like there could have been. I'm surprised. I guess what I'm saying is that there was an audience for more films that were like this that had a lot of nudity in it, some women kicking ass. Again, the girls with guns craze. Why didn't we have it here in the United States? You know what? There's a great scene in here. The grainy clip that we have here is our backdrop. That's what I'm going to call the hallway fight scene, right? Because this is a big part of one of the big final battles here for the most part, where these guys are chasing her and all the gruesome things are happening and all that. So this goes on for a while. It's not like a 30-second fight, right? And we always get a hallway shot, like she shoots straight. We talked about that with the source and how there's some cool stuff in here. This is her basically egging them on, like, come on, follow me. And it's really not bad, honestly. I agree with you. I was a little surprised. It was half a grade letter grade better than I thought it would have been.
Yeah, I was looking at the guy in this movie. His name is Ken Metcalfe. He plays the bad guy here.
Okay.
He actually is from TNT Jackson. He was in that movie, so he's just basically coming back and doing another role for the remake. He's also his big thing. He was basically in Hamburger Hill. Mm-hmm. He was in Apocalypse Now, and so his only credit on screen, other than being the bad guy in this, it was at TNT Jackson. Otherwise, he was in casting department, or he's a producer in Missing Action.
So. It doesn't have to be original in that. Okay, she goes to find her missing sister, right? So she goes there, she starts asking around, sexy blonde boy, hunky man meat, comes and finds her. And you're like, this guy, I think, acted better in this film than in Malibu Express. Malibu Express, he wasn't supposed to, I get it. So I give him credit. This movie made me think he was better than what I saw from Malibu Express. Because he sits down with her, he wines and dines her basically, it's like, well, why should I trust you? I'm looking at your background, your pedigree. So she's so good, she ends up being in a fight thing. So you're right, it's like an illegal kumite. So she, displays her wares and all that. And I got a kick out of the one guy that I thought was like, I called him the Manila Steven Seagal, because he had that fake looking white hair, but he would always drop somebody and like do the neck wrench thing and like break the dude's arm. And it was just like, but she, she gets down through the evil boss there, and it's evil drug rings and all that. But here's the thing. Sexy blonde guy is going to do an about face and want to turn on himself and turn on the guy. So there's something else going on. She doesn't know, because eventually she sleeps with him, and a scene where it's interesting because I miss seeing this kind of stuff like we saw in Malibu Express. Basically, they get in there, and he's got switchblades, and he starts cutting her clothes off. That's their foreplay, right? I would explain this to the other
and she takes and cuts his pants off too.
Yeah, and it's kind of silly in a way and all that. And then they're just talking, and they're sweaty, and they're rolling around, but then a big turn is that's the time for you to kind of back down before you have the big final fight where she realizes, oh, you bastard, I slept with you, now I must kill you.
Let's talk about Ray Malonzo. Ray Malonzo was the Bruce Lee clone they had in this movie. So
he was good.
Yeah. He's not even a martial artist. He's just an actor that was in a lot of martial arts films and action stuff. But there's nothing to get your credit on his credits saying he actually did the stunts,
Right. He was evil white guy's muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could tell because the way when he would pose, he would do that kind of turn thing, and he would do that kind of kick thing, and kind of like flex really hard.
He was the bad guy. He was the guy who's helping her out.
Well, you're right. My mistake.
You're thinking of Mr. Fuji, whoever the guy was.
Don't mess with the Samoan, sir. That's all I have to say. Yeah.
Which one? There's 12 of them.
Yeah. So I mean, you and I were trying to look at movies on Tubi or Plex or some free things, and these old prints are uncensored typically that I find. We found some Hong Kong films there. This one I knew Roger Corman had transitioned into doing some different types of films. So this is from that era that he was making sure they're getting produced. He didn't necessarily direct it himself. But one of the things about low budget films that I appreciate is that I don't necessarily get the vibe that the people are thinking, hey, let's slap together some piece of shit, and because it's so cheap, it's going to make money, so fuck everybody anyway. I do believe there's some care and effort put into this. I think a lot of what you see and feel in this film is genuine. It's easy to sit there and say, well, how good can it be because it's so cheap? Well, it can still, some of these low budget films from way back when seem to be better than some of the even mid-budget films that are made today, right? And I'll bring one up here as a comparison. It seems like it's coming out of nowhere because it's been almost a year since you and I talked about it, which surprised me since you're not really the big horror fan here on the channel. And that was the remake, the third time, of Salem's Lot, which absolutely was fantastic in terms visually stunning, and the soundtrack was tremendous. Character writing is absolutely 100% thin, and today's audience, nobody gives a shit.
Do you remember the movie Trick or Treats?
Absolutely.
She was in there. She was Andrea, and her husband, Gary Graver, was the one who directed it.
Interesting.
And I was reading more about the fact that he died a year before she did. So she died. She died.
Go ahead.
I was just saying that her husband, Gary Graver, he died in 2006. She died in 2007.
Yeah. Yeah, one spouse goes, usually the other one goes
Yeah.
not too many years behind, unfortunately, sometimes.
I'm looking at other stuff she's on. She was on SWAT. She was Miss
Mhm.
California. She was in.
She was a model, bro.
Yep, yeah, I
No,
know.
she's legitimately beautiful. Really nice
I
body.
was talking about this earlier when you guys were reviewing Columbo. I said about who has the coolest car, and that's James Rockford. She was on there. She was on episode
TJ Hooker.
No Fault Affair. She was on The Ropers, Three's Company, Mork and Mindy, TJ Hooker. She was on there too.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, yep. Subliminal Seduction was her last thing she did for TV movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Operation Cobra was her last thing she did. 97.
One of the things I was going to say I liked about this film too, and it kind of popped me a little bit, is because we know there's the evil drug lord and there's the whatever, and she's diving deep and she's going on a mystery hunt. Okay, we've seen all this before. But I like the fact when she's talking with the bartender, who that is a big brooding dude, and they fight just to show that he's a tough dude. They all kind of have a conversation about how to get into this like kumite or whatever, and she has to learn this stick fighting martial art from the one guy that's like in some small village, and it's not Eskrima, which is the stick fighting thing, which is what I thought it would be. It was something else. I forget the name of it. And so they said, well, let's take you to meet him. So she goes to meet the master, who's got like the small group of students, and they're doing it. And he's like, I see you are a martial artist. Why should I show you the stick fighting art of blah, blah, blah? And she goes, and she thinks about it for a moment. She goes, because my martial arts journey would not be complete unless I had the full experience of it, master.
Yeah,
like, that kind of popped me, bro. I'm serious.
Yeah, because this dude,
that's what she's going to use to kill the bad guy at the end, right?
Yeah, because the dude's like interrogating her. He's like, "Why are you really here?" It's like she's like, "Oh, for sightseeing." And he's like, "So you do admit you were working with the cops?" And he's like, "No, they picked me up." It's like, I wasn't working with them. And she says like, I'm just I can't confess, I'm a martial arts here. I just want to get the secret technique. It's like he's like, quit lying to me, she'd give a shit. Like I said, this movie is literally a hot Elizabeth Shue in the 80s going around kicking bad guys' ass in their broad
she's
panties.
believable. She looks like a normal woman,
and
right?
Yes, like I said, it's and she's not doing judo flips or judo throws, and stuff. She's basically like, there's the bar scene, the bar fight in the beginning, and just kicking ass in there, like
you know what they totally robbed though, man.
Yeah,
I used to talk about, and eventually one day here on the Extreme Movie Show, we'll cover the Wild Wild West with Robert Conrad, because that's one of my favorite fun shows as a kid. Yeah. But I used to talk about how on CBS, if you watch, like, say, Star Trek, the TOS, the original series, you'd hear certain sound effects that would be something that's produced on the studio set. So you hear it like in a different show, right? Yeah, you got a lot of these different sound effects that you're like, yeah, I don't know where they stole them from, but I know I've heard some before. Like the guy swinging the nunchucks and the swords and all that. I'm like, oh dear Lord, how low budget is this going to be? But look, this movie to me rises and falls not on the fact that Roger Corman is behind it trying to get something professionally produced at a low budget. It all rides on her, and that's not easy to do, and she carries it through the whole film. I'm not saying she's supposed to be a seductress. I'm not saying she's supposed to be whatever, but when we first started covering Amy Johnston's, who's legit and all that too, and she had her own kumite movie that was pretty good. I say the same thing about Scott Adkins. He was just in a movie I watched called Diablo, where he has to go find his daughter down in Mexico that's now with her new stepdad, drug lord guy, and all that. The fucker knows how to film action.
But
here
Scott,
you get to see them fighting, huh?
I know. Scott Adkins didn't embrace breakout roles until he was in John Wick movie. Yeah, in the fat suit.
I see we find ourselves in quite a predicament. Tell me, what is your name? And then it pans to her, and she says, Firecracker. No, I would love to see something like it, because when I see this movie, I go, if I were making movies, you could do something with this.
Here's the difference between this. We're talking about Malik Express, which was basically the movie review last week, and I had Darby Hinton. That was more slapstick comedy. This is more straight up, like, legit serious.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a better film for me.
You're talking about grindhouse films. This is your grindhouse film you want to watch,
Yeah, the scenes you mentioned that were particularly violent, they're not disgusting violent like Terrifier might gross you out, even though those are practical effects. These are obviously practical effects. One or two of them are actually hinted at, but you can tell it's a prop. It doesn't make you feel uncomfortable, but they didn't screw around and joke and laugh.
Dude, I got callbacks to playing the Punisher game when you could do that with the table saw. Oh, look, bad guy, table saw. so I honestly I appreciate that they threw it in here too, but yeah, I guess because they could have put comedy here because basically when the guy he has like the scythe, he's the second guy and tries to whip at her and cuts her bra and her boobs popped out. I would have laughed if he would have stood and then she would have basically like kicked his ass,
Yeah.
to get distracted. That would have been more funny, but they didn't do that. They kept to see her face, I'm like, the guy's like, yeah, I've seen better. Whatever.
Well, the easy thing to do would be to take a beautiful woman that's fighting you and make fun of her body or physique or her looks or whatever. That's the easy way out here. So to me, what I liked about it is, of course, she sleeps with the guy she ends up having to kill and fight at the end. And really, he's winning the fight. He actually backs off a time or two in the fight because he doesn't want to do with it. And she gets this look on her face and she ends up ending the fucker. And I'm like, good for you, woman, because if you didn't, I would be pissed at you. It makes sense with the ending.
This is why you can't trust a woman. You be nice to them and they'd always want revenge. You want more.
You were involved in her sister's death, so you might be able to sleep with her, but never ever.
It wasn't revealed that he had killed her. He was the one that dropped the body off.
I said involved with, sir. So the point is he knew all about what her situation was and didn't involve it. So how dare you sleep with me? I'll kill you. I'll poke your eyes out with my new stick fighting technique.
Would it be great? Would it be great though? It turns out that actually they team up at the end.
Look, pleasant surprise. It's not something I think you'd rewatch, but if you dive deep into martial arts films, you and I, or I like to say girls with guns addicts, we're on a hunt to go looking for these types of films, and we go through our spells of checking these types out, and we give it a rest, go on to something else, and then come back to it eventually. I wish there was more like this, whether it was with this particular actress or this type of movie, because again, make a woman that's competent, beautiful, fighting in high heels and all that kind of stuff. Why not do that again today? And not take the easy way out, making fun of it. Have her kick some ass and act like it's not a big deal that her bra's off and everything's flying around.
If they really wanted to do a Jackie Chan clone, or not Jackie Chan, but a Bruce Lee clone movie, they could have copied the whole first scene of Where the Dragon, where everybody's coming on the boats coming to the place.
Mm-hmm.
But instead they kind of just showed her this she comes there and that's it. It's like it's a really short trip. It's not even really don't see much of it. That's what I liked about Way of the Dragon. Introduce everybody, and it's kind of like if you watch Mortal Kombat. Let's grab everybody. We're gonna take you and we're gonna follow your journey as you go to the place. Then we're gonna have you fight.
Yes.
Yeah, this wasn't like that. So, but overall, like I said, like this here, I always love this because this is from the trailer. Basically, this is where she was running in her bra and panties in the hallway, and she stops and she back is like, "Come on, follow me."
Mm-hmm.
And she's getting ready to basically kick them, and the one dude's like, "Oh, smirking, cheesing out." He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you." It was so dumb. But
there are some women out there today that I think could do something like this. I don't know if they would want to, or if they would understand or get in the spirit of it, but. For a woman back there in the 70s, think of Cynthia Rothrock. She was a martial arts forms expert, and she's got so many different belts, right? It's not like she's just one belt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it completely shows up on screen. And then I always say, if you follow Cynthia's career, she definitely plays more to the sex appeal part of her figure and her look as we'd go from the 80s into the 90s. And those things happen, right? This one kind of had a little bit of blend of both early on, and it worked. I'm mildly impressed. Roger Corman, hats off to you. You're a low budget guy. Low budget doesn't mean low quality necessarily, and you can make a big budget movie like this and it could flop. Look at all the stuff I've talked about with Blade. They can't just figure out how to fucking go kill a bunch of vampires and be cool doing it because God forbid they try to put a message into it.
So my thing with Blade, and eventually we'll get to the Blade trilogy, I'll just say quickly, is this. The Blade first movie, still the best comic book movie ever made. Second one, they decided we're going to have different versions of vampires he's going to fight against.
Mm-hmm.
Third one, let's bring comedy into it.
Yeah.
And it did. I'm sorry, I like Hannibal Hayes, but that was too much Deadpool. Hannibal Hayes in the comic books was more of a serious guy. He wasn't a wisecracking guy. The best thing they think they could have done is dropped Ryan Reynolds from it and just kept in the girl. What's her name? It's Jennifer Bells.
Jennifer Beals.
Beals. Is it Jennifer Beals?
No.
Jessica Biel.
Jessica. Yeah.
Her character was fine.
Yeah, I agree with you, and
Yeah,
it's high praise from you because I'm not the biggest Ryan Reynolds fan, and I know you are.
But if you want to do a Blade thing, and you gotta Blade only worked because you had Wesley Snipes.
Yeah,
Wesley Snipes' star power was tremendous. His attitude, his look, everything was what made Blade movies so cool. They tried relaunching Blade in a TV show on Spike, and it bombed because you had a guy who looked like a reject Morpheus.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. But Blade is such a simple movie to make, and they literally could just copy the first movie. If they get somebody who's basically has the same charisma, same look as, heck, I would just would have brought back freaking at the time, Wesley Snipes.
I still bring him back because nobody young today has that level of coolness or blackness.
They brought him back in the Deadpool 3 movie.
I know.
He looked good in that. He could still go. So yeah, but that's Hollywood though. Hollywood's like, well, for whatever reason, they don't want to work with Wesley Snipes anymore, and they want to do another. They think these executives. Well, we know what we want to do. We don't give a crap about what anybody else wants to do.
Yep.
And it's not even about making money anymore. It's all about basically putting out a virtue signal. And honestly, Hollywood needs to purge those idiots.
That's not going to happen. Too much money.
Yeah,
it's the same thing going on in the music industry. There's no musicians anymore.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking about that. 60s and 70s was the last time you actually had music. 80s was good for glamour rock and all stuff, but that quickly faded away.
I would agree.
I mean, look at Badfinger. Look at their music they were doing, and then till they that. Remember, if you don't know what Badfinger is, My Baby Blue, Day After Day. The two guys who basically ended up committing suicide because they were the band that got screwed over by their record label. Paul McCartney, actually, they were on Paul McCartney's Apple Records label.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I watch a lot of behind the music stuff you don't know about for old bands, and I couldn't believe because I've heard those songs before, but it makes more sense because I think this was during the 70s. When after all this was happening, I'm trying to remember when Tom Petty decided to sue for his songs. I think it was right in the 70s, probably around that time.
I don't recall. But I remember it, but I don't recall when.
But yeah, that's one of the reasons I like Tom Petty because he was cool all around. He sued and got rights for his songs that he wrote. But apart from that though, said movies were good. They weren't afraid to do some grindhouse stuff like this. 60s was a lot of strong female angry biker women, movies. So a lot of Betty Page wannabes.
Yeah.
Like I said, 70s got where more people got more used to showing more skin and stuff. You might get topless.
People weren't offended by it.
No.
You might look at her, this girl, and say certain things.
We started.
Come on.
Yeah. And then the late 70s, we start going into slasher films, and all stuff. By 90s, it's kind of like everything's CG now. It's like, what the hell? It just everything changed, But yeah. So if Firecracker is free on Tubi, you can go watch it now if you want to. And Desert Rose, if you're still watching, there isn't much nudity in this, so I know that's why we're going to watch the other one.
There's not a lot of nudity in this one, sir.
Not really. Compared to Malibu Express, Malibu Express was more heavily focused for.
Agreed. Yeah, but hey, you get to see boob. I mean, it's not that we like boobs. It's just the fact that you get to see something, for God's sakes. I mean, it's a shame that everything's so sanitized now.
It's not like where you're getting Carmen Electra in the Scream knockoff where she's running through the sprinklers and it's nothing stupid like that. No, it's not cheesy.
This is better than last week's movie, and
Darby Hinton.
Both watch to me.
Darby Hinton was better as a bad guy in this. It was more believable. I like this. He was kind of like the game. Come on, baby. He's the guy. It's like, come on, let's go. He's the jerk. He's the creeper guy. Hey, just one more drink, baby. That's what he came off in this.
He was believable too.
Yeah.
I mean, that made it work. But yeah, she definitely did well in this. I give her a lot of credit for it. Check it out now, guys. It's on Tubi. We just got done recording live. Go check it out. Columbo, season 3, episode 7, Swan Song, with Johnny Cash, the Man in Black himself. There, that is a fun episode. Much
Johnny
more fun than I
Cash
thought it was going to be.
is always a good guest star in anything he's in.
Yeah. Anything else we need to plug, sir?
Nope. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Around
8 p.m. EST.
Eastern. Yes.
QBD.
All right. Take it easy, guys. And also leave a comment down below. It helps after the stream's done. It helps the algorithm basically realize, hey, maybe we should push these guys out for more people to watch.
I do have a very special message that I'm putting in chat that I want Sir Eric Breen to be aware of if he's not already, because I think it involves the Cleveland Indians as well as my Washington Redskins. Miga, ladies and gentlemen. Good night now.
I don't know. But click like, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Later, guys.